So if we can't benefit of our own culture, what is the real value of our culture for ourselves?
I think that is a great question to ask because the challenge is, regardless of what political party you are, regardless of your ideology, from a socioeconomic perspective, from an educational perspective, and I had to learn this after I ran for office, we have to talk about dollar signs.
Yes.
We have to talk about the economic impact that we have.
Yes.
Because if we look at the minority communities, if we stop being consumers, it shuts down. It's not the Caucasian, it's not the Anglo-Saxon, it's not the Hispanic, it's the Black people. And even as a subgroup, especially here in South Florida, if the Haitian community kept its dollar in its pocket, the economic power in South Florida was shut down.
Yes, what you're saying is so true. They know it,
but we don't. Yes.
We don't, and we don't act accordingly. For example, when you look at Haiti, right? For us, most Haitians, Haiti is a liability to us. Mm-hmm. But if we will compare Haitians to Black Americans, right? What they so-called Black Americans, but are truly the Aboriginal people of the land, okay? When we compare ourselves to them, we have lands in Haiti. I think it's 0.25% of the American lands is owned by the so-called Black Americans. But we Haitians or Haitian descent, we own land in Haiti. And these land, they used to provide 1/3 of French GDP back in the days. So now when we look, we have euro in our pockets. We have dollars, we have pesos, we have Canadian dollars, etc. When we use that money to get products or produce from Haiti, what we do, we are using our buying power to create jobs over there. But not only that, but we are creating value for ourselves because we no longer are consumers to other people's products. We invite others to consume our product or to a real Haitian experience. And as they are experiencing the Haitian culture, the Haitian authenticity, we're making the dollars, okay? But it's not something that you say, hey, you know what? My tax income is coming this year. I'm going to put 2,000. I'm going to put 3,000 to have beautiful mangoes or sags, etc. It's in the long term, from 5 to 7 to 10 years, to have Haitian produce and bring them here, or Haitian products and bring them here. And as we sell them to the others, they appreciate us even more because we add some value to the world we live in, the same way that we added value back in the days in 1804.
Jesus, we added value. And we still add value, but when you don't know your value, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. If you don't know it, so it's like when people, they name me after Martin Luther King, okay? My first name was supposed to be Nandy, and they had a dream that Martin brought me to them and say, hey, give him my name. Okay, all right, I'll take that. But the thing is, today we celebrate Martin Luther King, but if you look at the newspapers back in time when Martin Luther King was alive and straight after his death, his name couldn't been spoken. So let's go back to the 1804 as well. When we go back to 1804, we talk about what we did that was so great for the world. In 1806, Thomas Jefferson and the American Congress voted a law to boycott Haitian products. And that's why we are poor today, because still today we don't trade with the world. The world take advantage of Haiti's resources, of our culture. I will compare Haitian culture like the hip hop culture, right, in America. Because the hip hop culture, we know that the music industry is 90% owned by another culture than the so-called Black Americans. But when it comes to us Haitian, our Haitian culture, our music, our food, that we have one of the best food of the world. Okay, our coffee, who owns it? who makes money with it. So sometimes we sit back and we judge the Black Americans, the so-called Black Americans. But when we look at our culture and everything blue around us, we don't own it, then we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, what is it that I can do today to take that blue and red and create green in Haiti, or create purple, whatever the currency they use over there. Create purple, create money for people in Haiti, and also create legacy for my Haitians that are here in France, Canada, United States, etc.
You know, as you're talking, you bring me back to a conversation I had with Consul General of Haiti in Miami. I met with him. I was so eager. You know, I was like, there is new hope in Haiti. And I met with him and I said, if I had money to invest in Haiti, where should I invest it? And to me, my mindset was construction. My mindset was real estate. But he said agriculture.
Yes.
Jadine.
Yes.
And, you know, as someone who doesn't have a green thumb at all, I tried to make my own little planet. I killed a chia pet. Let's just say that. You know? I can't even keep a chia pet alive. So imagine
you try.
But you know, the challenge is for our generation, the younger generation. How do we have security in our investments in Haiti and know that there's a future and a hope that our investments won't go be thrown into the wolves or thrown into the sea, meaning that there's no ROI, because as business owners, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, we have other business owners on the line. You know, we want to know that there's a return of investment, because there's other items we can go to. We can even invest here in the United States, but I don't know about you, which I feel you have the same sentiment, is you want to invest back into your homeland.
Yes, because this is where you get the most return on investment. Okay, because socially you're having an impact over there. Okay, that you cannot. It's hard to calculate. Well, I'll give you an example. Okay, these masks. Okay, these masks are done in Haiti. Les États-Unis te manqué masks. I said, you know what? What can I do? I have two young Haitian men over there. They work for me. You know how much I pay them per day? I pay them $5 US per day. Okay? Quand yo font bagay, que yo pa font rien, ba yo $5 américain par jour. Pour qui ça est comme ça ba yo? Gen moun ki dim kon sa, I give them too much money. Because both of them, each one of them is bringing more money in their household than their parents. Okay? And what they do, they ask me not to pay them every week. They want me to pay them every month. Pour qui ça? Eh bien, pas captain besoin font bail qui sérieux avec. Gagnon, I could show you on my cell phone, Monsieur Koulé, you te habite non kaitol, right? But just working for me on Facebook whenever they have access to internet, posting stuff for Captain Haiti, etc. Monsieur bat son petit kaibrik. Li koule on petit dal sous kaibrik lan. Ça veut dire que li augmente confort li avec qui ça? Avec $5 US par jour. As a social entrepreneur, one of my biggest challenge, as Haitians in North America or in everywhere, one of our biggest challenge is access to capital. And it's just the Haitian experience, it's the Black experience, okay? So prime loans, etc. That's redlining, that's another conversation, right? But we hardly get access to capital. And if you want to go back to your return on investment, whenever you invest in United States, okay, the average small businesses in the United States, the first investment is $70,000 of personal investment. I'm not saying that the loan plus other people investing. The average personal investment to start a small business in the United States is $70,000. Guess what? 90% of these businesses after 5 years, they shut down. Mm-hmm. So now when we put everything in context, if as a white male in America, I invest money and I have only 10% of the chance after 7 years to get my money back, what if you're Haitian? What are your probabilities? They're slimmer and you don't even have that 70K. So that's why the smartest thing to do is to invest in Haiti instead of investing here. right? Stay away from the politics. Do whatever you can, okay? And it seemed like a wonderful story, etc. I'll give you an example. These masks, when I started to have them here, etc., people say, oh, qu'est-ce qu'on fait masque vini? DHL. It cost me even more, right? To get them here. But the margin of profit is so large that it's worth the risk. The higher the risk, the higher is supposed to be the reward. But guess what? I have a friend, he's in relationship with, I don't want to name the corporation here. And that corporation asked for masks. He said, can you get us some masks? Of course I can get you some masks. Give me 1,000. Oh my gosh, okay. I need 10 people at home with a sewing machine to do the masks. All right, no problem. We get it going. We got people going to keepithaitian.net to order some more masks or order some more products from Haiti, right? Guess what? The president of the country signed un décret présidentiel that masks cannot be exported from Haiti anymore. So now all these clients, I had to give the money back. But guess what? I've learned. Before, I used to import coffee from Haiti directly to Montreal. And then I went to Philadelphia. I got into a food processing plant over there. I got into selling mangoes, etc. But the learning that you get from it, there's no price to it. And guess what? The masks that are stuck in Haiti right now, they're unperishable product. So whenever they can come here, let them come here and we will sell them. And and now that we have relationship with people over there, I'm like, okay, they block the mask. How about the flags? How about the suits? Can we do suit sur mesure? I don't know how to say it in English. Tailored suit for people. Can we do shirt for the nurses? Hey, nurses, we have people in Haiti. You give us our mensuration, and we can get them to send you the uniforms that you want to use, right? But you're putting people to work over there, and it's worth it. So when we talk about the Haitian culture, the red and blue, etc., the red and blue have no importance if you don't own it.
Come on,
there's
now.
no value in it. The value is you. The value is the people over there. 1804 is just a number. We're in 2020. If we start a new economic revolution in 2020, while the United States is in dispute with China, there's a bunch of companies that want to bring back their factories from China, and they're putting them where? In Mexico. Why are they putting them in Mexico? I thought the United States and Mexico, they had problems, right? Trump in Mexico. Mexican president, he doesn't care what Trump has said about Mexican, etc. Bring us the money, bring us the business. So it's the same thing that we as Haitian, we can do as Haitian descent, as Taínos descent, as Black that are living the Black experience in America, as Pan-Africans, as African descent of people of God. That red and blue have no value if we don't transcend it to other people in this world. And that's what we can do each and every day.
My brother, I've been trying to like jump in somewhere, but
sorry.
No, you good. And I want you to hold that thought, because we're going to move along to our next, because at the end of each speaker, once all the speakers have spoken, we're going to have a panel discussion. So I want you to hold some of those pointers that you put, because we need to tap into that mindset. I didn't have that mindset until I was homeless. I didn't have that mindset until I understood there's two American dreams we're living. There's one that our parents taught us: get a good education, get a good job, get married, have kids, white picket fence, la vie belle. But actually there is another world that was happening right before our eyes that we were clueless to. And that's the world that the 1% was having. Sorry?
What's that word?
What word?
The world. The world that people are living to that we're not conscious of.
I don't know. What word is it?
You said we're not conscious of the other dimension.
The other dimension. There's another world. There's the 1% world, the wealthy world.
Yes.
Where they have different conversations, they have a different mindset. And that's why I'm challenging young Haitian Americans to adapt to that mindset. Because that mindset that our parents and our grandparents taught us no longer exists. Post 2008 was another world. Post COVID-19 is another world. And I hope we learned lessons from 2008 that we could take into 2019. 2020. I know I did. But hold that thought, because I don't want to lose my focus on my track. We are gonna let me play some music right here before we go into our next speaker. Ooh, I don't know, something about Haitian music. Y'all better make sure y'all have a good time and ride as we are transitioning to our next speaker. She is no stranger to the beauty of our Haitian music, as I would like to introduce Miss Nandy Dorsainvil, as we'll be talking about the influencers in our community, as she is a community, and I'll get to her bio quickly, but let me just drop some knowledge on you real quick. Even Vibe magazine identified some Haitian American influencers. I want to know if you know these people. Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Yes.
This person tagged the streets of New York as part of an art duo, SAMO, alongside Al Diaz. You know, he was a mover and shaker in the expressionism art movement that happened in New York. Let's go to the next one. And I'm dropping a little knowledge here and there, because I want us to be more educated in understanding that if we don't know the people who are making a difference in our society, in our community, that look like us, we lose that value of our culture as a whole. Edwidge Denticott, I don't need to say anymore. I can go on? Everybody know who she is. One of my favorite authors of all times. Very wealth of knowledge and really help us to understand the cultural aspect. It's one thing to write about the history of Haiti, but she writes from a cultural perspective that maybe some of us don't want to discuss or embrace, or it's something that we don't even know. As a Haitian American, her writing has really opened my mind to see Haiti from a more bigger picture than what my parents or my grandparents or people have told me about Haiti, as I wasn't born in Haiti. Gary Victor worked, he was an argamist. He was celebrated for his work, Claire de Monboul. He also had a voodoo thriller, Sorrow. I don't know if anyone heard of that. So he wrote mainly from the art perspective in film and literacy world. Raul Peck. Raul Peck is a Haitian filmmaker. He is known for Lumaba, and also, which is a critically acclaimed film, and I Am Not Your Negro. He also has relations with various people in the music industry, and he was one of the individuals that helped during the 2010 earthquake. Let's continue on. For me, some of these people I only have known of Edwidge Denticott. Jamie Hector. Jamie Hector was Brooklyn-born actor known for his role as Kingpin Marlo Stanfield on The Wire. Whoever remembers The Wire on HBO. So he is a Haitian American individual in the film industry. Let's continue on. Elsie Serena. She was born in Port-au-Prince, spent most of her childhood in the south side of Haiti. She is an artist and a writer who went to National School of Arts for training in visual arts. She is well known for her artwork at the School of Museum and Armory Art Center for continuing studies. She studied in Cambridge, she studied around the world, and is known for her artistic abilities. Then there's Christine B Ascii. Is a Haitian American journalist and an activist, a focus on Haitian affairs and AIDS awareness. Was championing when, I don't know if you all remember, I know we have some young people on there, but she assisted in bringing awareness to HIV AIDS. I remember when I was at UF that they say HIV AIDS came from 5 H's, and one of those H's was the Haitian community. And the last one is Viter Just, who is the founder of Little Haiti, as most of us from South Florida would know him. So those are some influences, and I think it's important that we continue to educate ourselves about the people who are making a difference in our community that are Haitian American. And then, there's more people I can go into. There's a lot of celebrities that have either a mother or a father who's Haitian American. There's a well-famous basketball player who has an African American last name, but his father was Haitian. So it's important that we understand our history and know who looks like us, not just by color, by culture. But Sandy Dorsainvil has worked in the nonprofit sector for over 20 years, facilitating cultural events targeting Caribbean communities. She is the principal consultant from Maximilian Consulting Incorporated and has served as the community liaison in District 5 in the office of Chairman Keon Hardiman. Sandy currently serves as the manager for Little Haiti Cultural Center, LHCC. So let's go ahead and bring on, I would like to introduce you all to Sandy Dorsainvil. Not only is she a colleague in the community activism sector, she is also my Madam Chairwoman for the Haitian American, my mind just went blank, Professionals Coalition. When you get excited, your mind go blank. But not only that, what I admire about Sandy Dorsainvil is that she is a curator for our culture, for the young people. And when you want to know what's going on, just look at her, look at her scene, it's just, she exuberates this young Haitian, she's a walking museum as far as culture and history is concerned. But I'm going to turn it over to her. I want her to talk about the influence that Haitian Americans have in our society from all aspects. You're a business owner. You've been involved in politics as far as working for a politician. You're a business owner. You are a manager of the safe haven of our culture, the Little Haiti Cultural Center. Share with us your insight and really empower and give some, and each speaker, I'm going to ask you to challenge this generation. What is their role and responsibility? Sandy, take it away.
Thank you, Fayola, for such a wonderful introduction.
That's my nickname that she gives me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't be formal with you. I just can't. I can't.
No worries. You're like a sister from another mother. Love you,
I'm
dear.
serious. I can't. But thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm really honored to be to speak on this topic with all these wonderful people who have done so much for the community in terms of culture and in terms of keeping our culture alive and promoting our culture. It's Haitian Heritage Month. I got my flags everywhere behind me. These are the flags that we were supposed to be using for the 15 million festivals that we have every May in South Florida. Sounds of Little Haiti that I produce at the Cultural Center every month. So, we're definitely getting used to the new norm and trying to adjust. And just to start where we are and to work our way backwards. Somebody said to me, oh my gosh, Sandy, it's May. This is usually, Team No Sleep for you. From May 1 to May 31, there's usually an activity every single month. Either you're producing one, or you're helping someone with theirs, or you're attending one. So what are you gonna do? And I said, what do you mean, what am I gonna do? I said, I'm Haitian, I'm a pivot. That's what we do. Crisis happens on Monday at 4:00. By 6:00, there's a plan. We've moved on, we're figuring it out. And I think it's a blessing and a curse sometimes for us as a community, because we pivot so often and so well, and we're forced to pivot so often because it just seems like it's usually, it's one crisis after the next for our homeland, for our families, for various reasons. We're forced to do that and, just hit the ground running. And that's a blessing because then, you know how to survive. But then the curse comes when people do things to you or things happen to your community because people know you will adjust, you will pivot, you will handle it. And I think lots of times when I look at the news and I read about things that are happening in Haiti or even in the Haitian diaspora of just unjust things that are happening, I'm like, they're doing it because they know we're going to figure it out. We'll pivot and we'll keep it moving. And we probably are not going to make a fuss. And even if we do make a fuss, life goes on for us, I think, a lot smoother than in other communities. So a curse and a blessing. But bringing it full circle. So here we are, Haitian Heritage Month. I'm participating in this panel, and I'm trying to create online programming to keep the energy going. Because I think many times when we talk about Haitian culture, people, you know, there's so many directions you can go with that. You can go in the direction that Martin originally went with, which is the business aspect of it, and just talking about what Haitians are producing in Haiti and around the world. Or you can go in the lane of just education, and you're talking about language and history and that type of thing. But I think for me, what's helped me survive and what I love and what I think gives me my everyday drive is promoting Haitian culture as a way of life, as a celebration of the past and how it's just reflecting on our everyday occurrences. Lots of times, even my own family, when I started my career as an educator, I taught history and social studies. And of course, like a good Haitian girl, I was supposed to go to law school. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I enjoy events. I enjoy everything Haitian. And I think that I took for granted for a long the pride that I had in myself and in my culture and in my family. I just thought everyone felt like they were the bomb because they were Haitian. It wasn't until I moved to South Florida and I was like, oh, there's a problem. You know, like, oh, you know, you don't realize how fabulous you are. You don't realize how fabulous your nutrition, your food is. You don't realize how fabulous your country is. So once I realized that was my thing, that was my gift from God, that was my blessing, and I realized how that people not having that, especially children, especially the youth, how that impacted so many other areas in their life. So that's what I do. I bring Haitian culture and Haitian art and Haitian pride to people's daily lives. It becomes part of to me, it's important for it to be part of your everyday existence. The food, the language, you have to embrace all of it. The idiosyncrasies, the jewelry, the fashion, the events, the music, all of it. I feel like when you give a young person something beautiful, something strong, something that has roots, and they can grab hold of that, that helps them become stronger in and of themselves, and then in anything that they do. So those people who often, oh, you know, you guys overdo it, it's overkill, you gotta have the Haitian flag, everything gotta be red and blue, everything gotta be in Creole and English. Yes, it does. Yes, and it's important. I don't think it's the end all and be all. I don't think if you have Haitian pride that you're gonna automatically be a great person and you're gonna automatically be, you know, the most confident person in the world, but I think it helps. I think it helps to have, to be grounded in who you are and to be grounded in where you come from. And then I also think it helps to know the negatives and the positives, you know, and to know the idiosyncrasies and why they exist. So I'm excited, even in this pandemic that we're in, to still to have the ability to share culture, to share art, and to share history with my fellow Haitians, and more importantly, my Haitian Americans. I think we underestimate our impact on the community, and I'll speak very specific. I'll keep it local. We'll talk about just South Florida, or even let's just talk about the East Coast, because most of us live in the East Coast. So between New York all the way down to South Florida, we do oftentimes set the temperature for how things are going to be done in communities, because if people don't pay attention to the numbers, especially when you look at a lot of African American statistics and African, just Black folks numbers, Haitians play a big role in those quote unquote positive numbers. Our graduation rates are extremely high. I was amazed. My girlfriend's child was graduating from FAMU, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. I'll give them some respect, even though I went to Howard University, the best HBCU in the world, but we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. But I was looking at the graduating class for 2019 of FAMU. Can I tell you, I have never seen so many Jean-Baptiste, Jean-Marie. I I mean, a large percentage of their graduating class was Haitian American. And that just gave me such pride on so many levels. It gave me pride because I remember when I wanted to go to a HBCU, a historically Black college, my mother was not really understanding the logic behind that. You know, she said things like, the world is not Black. You know, why do you want to do that? And it took some coaxing before she realized that this was one of the best decisions that she could have helped me make for myself. So just to see that Haitian families have evolved to that point. And then on the next level, just to see how we have grown as a community. We always spend so much time talking about the negative things that are happening in the Haitian American community, in the Haitian American diaspora. But I like to remind people that we are a very young diaspora community. We are less than 75 years old in North America, in the United States. And in those 75 years, our income brackets have climbed. Our children are graduating from college. We are elected officials. We are official millionaires. We own car dealerships. We own clinics. I mean, we've done amazing things as a community. And I think, you know, especially for me this month of May, and it's been my practice for many years, I try to stay off the negative stuff for the month of May. We got some issues. We all know we got some issues as a community. But every community does. But I have to celebrate that we have come so far. We have done so much. And every day I meet another young Haitian American who is doing fabulous things, who's a vice president of this, CEO of that, you know, partner in this law firm, so many things, wedding planners. I mean, doing amazing things that I know our parents never dreamed of for us. And I mean, just in closing, because I know we got a plethora of people who have great things to say, this is that I just encourage everyone to continue, first of all, as Martin said, to continue to support Haitian businesses and Haitian products, but also to talk positively, speak positively, bring positive energy to your fellow Haitians. If no other time, but at least in the month of May, if you know someone who has a Haitian business or organization or a Haitian platform, support them. Click on their thing, like their page on social media, share it with your list of friends. Support some of the huge social media platforms, La Union Suite, the Haitian American. These are some of the platforms that are putting positive energy out there, that support us, that promote us as Haitians. And more importantly, they reach outside of our community. And that's important too, that we put out positive energy, we put out positive things, and that we celebrate the positive things that we're doing to the people outside of our community, so that they can know how fabulous we are as well, and so that they can help us grow and evolve. The thing that hurts and pains my soul is when I see Haitian Americans talking bad about other Haitian Americans in public to non-Haitian Americans. Oh, li fait mal. Because I know, how do you expect us to grow and evolve out of a community if we are airing all our dirty laundry? No, at least in the month of May. I'm not asking for all 12 months, but in 1 month, you are to support your people. And I know there's some negativity out there, but you know what? We're going to focus on the positive, and we're going to teach our children about the positive, and we're going to share the positive things with our non-Haitian friends and brothers and sisters, so that they can buy the hype and they can help us evolve and grow. And that's what I do. That's what I do.
Wow, you know, I am just inspired by your energy. I'm inspired by your passion. You know, it's just like, there's someone coming to mind. You know what this is the only way I can describe it, because my mind is like, ooh, this is like our Harlem here in Miami. You are like one of the pioneers and the people in the Harlem Times for the people of Haiti in South Florida. And what excites me most is, because I know you.
I'm 43, you called me a pioneer, girl. What was going on? Oh.
You know, and that's why I picked the people that I picked to be on this conversation, because it's so important to understand it's not about age, it's about your influence. And that's why you're speaking in the topic of Haitian Americans who are successful, who are influential, who are making a difference, because we don't understand our value. Every person that made history, they weren't thinking of themselves. They thought they were small until after their death, posthumous, whatever, that's when their impact grew. And I got goosebumps. I'm trying not to cry. I believe the impact is while we are alive, while we are young. Just as they say, if they don't make room for us, we make our own room. You don't want to give me a seat at the table, I bring my own table and I bring my own seat. If you want me to bring my own room, I bring my own room with me. You know, and that's why I say we have to challenge the people in our generation and younger. We have to challenge them to say, it is no excuse. You are educated, you have opportunities. You have money, you have opportunities. You have all these different things. We should be taking over. As small as a country we are, think of Israel. Israel is a small country, but they have economic power. They have economic influence. The Haitian community has to do the same, because if it wasn't for us, the United States would be maybe a third less than where it is now, or even more. And that's why, you know, and what hurts me is I tried to leave Miami over and over again.
And it keeps sucking you back in.
I've lived in North Carolina, no place like it. I've lived in Atlanta, no place like it. I've lived in the Northeast, no place like it. But Miami, I'm telling you, if you are bred in South Florida, there is no excuse of your impact. I don't care if your impact is in a school. I don't care if your impact is in a community. I don't care if your impact is one person. The power that we have here in South Florida is crazy. When I did my research a couple years ago in the Haitian community, there's no other place like Miami, none. As rich as culture outside of Haiti. There's no other place, not even France with their tutu. So I met you sister. When I tell you, I appreciate you, I appreciate Martin, because each of you are bringing your own flavor unapologetically.
That's right.
When I first met Martin, he was like, I'm like, brother, you just got here, slow down, go sit somewhere. I'm gonna tell the truth. But you know, we had this conversation before, you know, and to see what you do, you had the Sounds of Little Haiti. You brought my favorite artist, Jean-Jean. Oh, Jean-Jean. And so it's who's next in line to do your job? Who's next? Is it your daughter? Who is next in line to keep the culture alive and popping? That there's more people who are non-Haitian that come to those events that I've seen with my eyes. I don't know what the numbers say compared to Haitians. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
How do we keep that going? But hold that thought. That's gonna be a part of the panel discussion. I'm gonna move to our next guest. Man, y'all, I'm trying to stay in my seat. I'm in these people's hotel. I ain't trying to act up so they don't call the police on me. But I'm telling y'all, it's a beautiful thing. You guys are really doing something in me. But let's go ahead and play a little music as we transition to our next speaker with her crew. She came with her posse. She came deep. Our next speaker, and she will have her posse. Well, I shouldn't say posse. That's not political.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, like
her divas. Her divas in no, she don't like that word either.
I don't like that word either.
Queens, her fellow queens.
There you go, the simple queen.
Fellow queens.
Fellow queens. Up and coming queens. Up and coming
queens.
Yes. Let me go ahead and introduce our next speaker. I'm just getting so excited. I'm touching too many buttons here. Our next speaker is Jadine Lucent, who is a Miami native, whose daily mantra is, too much is given, much is required. Her background in mentorship, devotion to Christ, and passion to transform lives helps this vision come to life. Depending what season of the year it is, you can view the young ladies in the program compete for a scholarship at Miss TransForMe Ayiti Pageant, or go to Haiti for the annual school drive distribution. In the end, she wants to leave a legacy of empowering one mind, one life, and one city at a time. When I tell you, you guys are in for a cultural treat. These ladies, these young ladies, young queens are going to be bringing with our mother queen, Jadine. And so I am going to turn it over to them, but their challenge and their topic is Haitian beauty. I don't know about you, but my favorite Haitian dish is tasso turkey. I know everybody else like their griot. I don't eat pork. Everybody else like their lumbi. I don't eat seafood, but mine is tasso turkey. And I love my sarasap juice. I don't remember what it is in Creole. My mind just went blank. I'm so excited. I got a lot of things going in my head.
Kosa? I think it's Kosa.
Kosa, oui, Kosa. There you go. See, look at my young ones. Kosa. So we're going to talk about the Haitian cultural experience, how these young ladies are bringing their own culture, own vibe to preserve the Haitian culture. So Jadine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
So tell us.
Good evening.
You are, good evening. How are you?
Can't complain.
Awesome. So you are preserving the culture in your own unique way. You, I think this is your third year with the pageant, Miss TransForMe Ayiti pageant. You have some contestants and your current reigning queen with you. Please share us, how are you challenging yourself and these young women to preserve the beauty of the Haitian culture?
So before I start, I just want to say thank you, Fayola, for putting this on. Thank you for your obedience. As you know, in my mind, what I thought this was going to be, you totally stepped it up like 1,000. So just listening to Nandy, listening to Sandy, and just, you know, hearing how you were strategic in choosing who you wanted to come on this broadcast. As the people before me have said, we want to make Haitian culture 365, because that's what it is, right? It's not just May 18. And so in 2015, you know, the Lord had to get me together and make me understand that I will be leaving this earth at one point. And how would I impact the community, especially the community that I grew up in? And so with my story, you know, I grew up here, first generation American, but I was ashamed to be Haitian. I actually grew up at Jackson, grew up in Little Haiti, was raised in Fort Lauderdale, and that's how I got to meet Fayola back in high school. So South Florida has been my story, but because I was in an identity crisis, I was Haitian at home, and then I was American when I was out in the streets. And because it wasn't popular being Haitian like it is now, ultimately you have to blend in. And so what I tell people is when God has his hand on you and he knows your purpose on this life, you can run for him as far as you want, but he will put people in your life and he will make things happen where you have no choice but to embrace who he created you to be. And so in 2015, after 32 years running around with my identity, skirting around what I thought was politically correct or what was fun about being Haitian, he told me, if you're gonna be one, you're gonna be at 100. You're gonna take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so when Miss Sandy is talking about let's uplift the community, what God wanted me to work on is how we build the next generation that is coming after us to understand who they truly are, who they come from, and what charge they have as Haitians with their blood. Because remember, you see the acronym, it says Haitian American. So you're Haitian first before you're American. And so that's one of the things that we do in our program called Unique Academy, where we tap into each young lady's unique talents and what God has given them, and then also equip them with entrepreneurial skills, because like Sandy said, her mom's dream was for her to be a lawyer. My parents was to be a doctor, but I chickened out a little bit and I became a nurse. But we know that nursing, engineering, lawyer, those are the things that you have respect in the community. And what we have been able to do as millennials is show our parents those are not the only ways you can be successful. If you do what you're supposed to do, what God has given you to do, it comes to you. The money will come to you. The success will come to you. So I am proud to say I'm one of the groups that really has changed the narrative of what Haitian American looks like, and now taking the charge for the next generation after me, because we know I'm not going to be here forever. And so this pageant came out of the idea that we wanted to impact young girls of Haitian descent. It's not limited to Haitian descent, but we cater to that. And so we work with them from a spiritual component, because we're all spirit, mind, body, and soul. We're all spirit. And if we don't understand that as the core of who we are, then we go around doing things to fulfill something that is already innately in us. And so then we also focus on entrepreneur skills and also Haitian culture, so that they are motivated and equipped to start social change projects in Haiti and of course their community. So as you said, we have the current queen right now who's holding down the fort because of COVID. We could not have the pageant a week ago as we planned. But we also have, I believe, 5 of the 7 contestants competing this year. And we're excited because Miss TransForMe Ayiti 2020 is going to be something spectacular, because all these women come with something that undeniably makes them their own. And ultimately, we'll see who is crowned the pearl. The theme this year is the pearl of the Antilles, as we know Haiti is. And so if you hear me say pearls, I'm referring to them in the pearl and the number that they are. So that's a little bit about me, what we're doing at the organization. And we also work with young girls in Haiti. We currently have about 25 girls that we're doing our mentoring program in the northwest part of Haiti, La Pointe, Potepe. And so we have a crew in Haiti as well. So I want to shout them out because they're holding down the fort the best way they know how, with everything that's going on, and keeping the young girls engaged as we figure out the next steps with Corona.
Awesome. So are the girls going to introduce themselves? You're going to go in numerical order of their contestant number?
Yeah, so we'll have Ruth start since she's the reigning queen, and then they could just go their numbers.
So I did unmute everyone. Sorry, before you begin, Ruth, I unmute everyone. So just be mindful, because I don't know. There's some people that don't have names to their numbers. So please, if you are making noise, just mute yourself, and you can unmute yourself if you need to have a question. But I would just I don't want to mute you. So just be mindful. So our current queen is Miss Ruth. Are you there, Ruth?
Hi, Fayola. Hi.
Oh, all these backgrounds, girl. Now you take us to the waterfall.
Yes, I took off to Jacmel Waterfall. Actually, saying that.
Oh, glory. I hope that's a waterfall in Haiti.
I don't know, but just making sure to let you know that Haiti has a waterfall and it's in Jacmel. So you might.
Look at you. Look at you. Well, go ahead and share about your platform and, you know, what your purpose is and what you've been doing as the current reigning queen.
My name is Ruth from Morency. I'm the current Miss TransForMe Ayiti 2019. You just heard from my director, Jadine, and the president of the TransForMe Ayiti 2019. I have had the opportunity to go with Jadine to Haiti on Labor Day of 2019 to conduct their annual back to school drive, and it was a dope experience. You know, I get to experience, you know, running a nonprofit physically. So, and we were talking about how can the diaspora being able to support while we're here. I'll say, since I'm on the side of the nonprofit, we can support people that are doing nonprofit work in Haiti, because some of us are even scared to go to Haiti, but we have some of the people, even though with everything that's happening, that's being strategic about stuff that they're doing, and still go over there. So I'll say to support TransForMe Haiti, and they doing the work here and in Haiti as well. So what I've been doing is basically support them and learn from her, because she's dope and she's been doing that thing for a while, until I'm ready to start my own nonprofit as well.
Awesome. That is the current reigning queen, Miss TransForMe Ayiti 2019, Miss Ruth, who will soon be able to have a successor. We don't know who that may be, but we definitely want to stay tuned, because the date will be confirmed very, very soon once they open us up, back up again. So definitely we're asking all those who are listening on Facebook and on Zoom, stay tuned, follow them on social media so you can know when that pageant date is scheduled, because you do not want to miss this event. So one of our contestants, we'll just go in numerical order. So I don't know if everyone's here, so we'll just go I'll just call out names then. Ashley, tell us your contestant number, introduce yourself, your pageantry platform, and anything interesting you would like to share with the audience.
Okay, well, everyone, I'm Ashley Demosteen. I'm contestant number 7, and my platform that I am pushing for is environment. The main goal of my platform is to clean up Haiti, and my nonprofit organization is called Nettoyer Pays Ayiti. Majority of you guys know the conditions of Haiti and how we don't have like a central waste system or waste management business in multiple cities. So I'm pushing for that to be reversed, for Haiti to have, recyclable systems, cleaner waterways, as well as jobs, to create jobs in Haiti. So with that being said, thanks to the TransForMe Ayiti 2020, Jadine, as well as Fayola, hopefully us Haitian Americans can make a change. And that is a goal.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Ashley.
You're welcome.
And next, thank you for joining us. Glad to have you. And next we'll go to Sarah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I am a student at the Florida International University. I am contestant number 3, Pearl number 3. My platform is health. Basically, what sparked my interest in that is we all know that our good father is intentional. So he has reasons for doing anything intentional in my own life. So based off of my own health experience, because I do have type 1 diabetes, and a story that I have that my cousin actually recognized that my grandma was having a stroke. So that sparked my interest in wanting to start a nonprofit organization called Loussaint, which will target children of ages 10 through 18. And with that, we will educate them on health and nutrition. So some things that we will teach them is how to spot common signs and symptoms for certain conditions, diseases, like that. Also, the importance of nutrition and things such as like high blood pressure and high cholesterol, things you should eat, things you should not eat. So we'll do that through lessons, through volunteer. Also special training such as CPR. It's always good to have somebody who have those type of skills in their household, because we're Haitian and a lot of us have parents that's in the health field, or a lot of us are actually in the health field. I know Edge and Jadine, Fayola, you guys are in there. So not everybody has somebody who's in that health field. So it's good to teach them on things like that. And in every lesson that we give them, we'll always give them tools that they can take home, essential things that's important to have in every home, such as glucose monitors and food organizers, water sanitizers, so things like that. So basically the overall thing we're trying to do is just improve the health status of our communities through improving the health of individual and homes. So that's it.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. Next contestant, Lydia. Where are you, my love?
Hi everyone, my name is Cyndia Apollon and I'm your contestant number 5, running for Miss TransForMe Ayiti 2020. And my platform is environment and resources. I decided to choose this platform because 2 years ago when I went to Haiti, I was like influenced by this young lady because she didn't have anything, she didn't have as much as other people. So I just decided to buy things for her and help her, because you know how people just judge you in the community, they don't help you, they don't want to like just. So I just decided to name my platform Fearless. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to mute everything.
Oh. Yeah, mute everyone.
Yeah, give me a second, because I didn't want to mute everyone because some people don't have names. But 1 second, mute everyone. And then I will unmute only the people that are currently speaking. Go ahead, Clendia. I unmute you, my love. Clendia? Let me do it from you.
I think her audio is coming from the phone number.
Oh, her audio's coming. Okay, thank you. Cynthia?
Hi, you guys can hear me?
Yes. You're on the phone or you're on your laptop?
On the phone.
Okay.
My phone.
Okay, the 561 number. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Apollon. I'm your contestant number 5 running for Miss TransForMe Haiti 2020. And my platform is environment and resources. Because 2 years ago, I went to Haiti. I had like a nice experience over there. And this young lady, she influenced me to like help others and give back to my community. Because some people are getting judged for like misconception, just looking at them like, oh, they're poor, this, that. So I just wanted to help them and give back to my community. And also my favorite food in Haiti is the thom thom. As you can see right here. I love this.
Somebody else make? Did you make the tom tom?
No, I didn't make it, but I made some spaghetti earlier.
Okay, we'll let you pass. As long as there's a hot dog in the spaghetti, then you're Haitian.
Yes, there is.
Anything else you want to share?
Yes, and my nonprofit organization is called Fearless because I want to help every young individual to speak up, to tell people what's going on and to help them. And I want to build young ladies to become young entrepreneurs and build Black businesses as well for my nonprofit organization.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. We can move right along to Edge, our next contestant, Miss Edge.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Hi. My name is Edge Cadet. I'm contestant number 2. I am a student at FAU University. I'm currently a registered nurse in Memorial Hospital. And my platform for this...
One second. I'm going to mute. There's a little noise in the background, then I'm going to unmute you. And then I guess I got to unmute you from 2 places, so bear with me 1 second. Got to find your picture. Okay, I think you could talk now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me start over. Hello again, my name is Edge Cadet. I'm contestant number 2. My platform for the pageantry is woman empowerment because I believe that women are the ones that stimulate change in the world. And I feel like if in a country like Haiti, women, like there's less than 50% of the women there that are literate. There's a bunch of ristaveks, and then it is a form of slavery that is legalized in the country, and that is inhibiting those kids from actually gaining an education. And education is a right to freedom, because once you have an education, you can read, your mind is being stimulated, you can make a change in your country. So my platform's goal is to help decrease the illiteracy rate in Haiti, because I feel like if the mind of the next generation that is to come is stimulated, then they can feel like the way that they are living is not right. They can stimulate a change for the generation that is to come. Because whenever I see something in Haiti, it's never something positive. It makes me feel angry, and I feel like the people are comfortable in the situation because of the fact that a lot of them have never been stimulated to actually do a change. I feel like if they are stimulated, they are motivated, and they are given the basic tools for success, something will be done. And then like Captain Haiti said earlier, just having the flag that is made in China is not a representation of you being a Haitian. You actually have to stimulate a change in the country, because just flipping the flag from China is you boosting the Chinese economy. It's not doing anything to your country. It's not providing any form of growth to the Black empowerment that Haiti represents. So I feel like if a change is made to the literacy rate in Haiti, it can actually make a change to the country's situation. Thank you.
Awesome. And you brought up some valued points, and it goes back to a common thread that's been said through all the other speakers. It's just like the mask in the United States. As we are healthcare providers, a lot of the masks that we were waiting for we're receiving are from China. And it has debilitated and crippled not only the economy here, but also the ability for healthcare providers to do their work. And so that's why I challenge individuals that I knew that were making masks. Don't just make masks as a one-time thing. Don't become a one-hit wonder. Actually find a way that you can actually manufacture these masks so you can get those government contracts and you can provide American-made, US-made masks that we won't have to go to outside of our country. And just like Haiti, who is that person that's going to make these flags? And it says made in Haiti and replace made in China.
I agree with you. One more, sorry for cutting you off. Another thing too, as he spoke, Captain, I'm telling you, I cannot forget Captain Haiti because I love Captain America. Okay, like that is so beautiful. That is such a great name. Okay, like props to you. So as he was talking about him paying people in Haiti $5 a day, like $5 American a day, to do something, I'm like, oh, I never even think about it because the Haitian money is actually, the value has decreased so much. And that is actually a lot of money over there. And I'm like, it would be actually really great to do something in Haiti and you would not even be paying that much for it to get started while you'll be feeding so much families. It's an interesting idea. I like the fact that the idea was given to me. I like it. Thank you for stimulating my mind into this. Thank you.
So it's not just an idea. Now the question is, how are you going to execute it?
Well, now that it's there, I have to think and see how can I apply it to my life to make a change.
Yes, so we're going to follow up with you. We give you about 6 months. I'm one of those things I've learned, it's one thing to get knowledge. It's one thing to be stimulated. It's one thing to be empowered. It's just like you go to church. You get high, you get the Holy Ghost feeling, then you go back home. Before you get home, you're in your car and you feel depressed again. It's how do we actually make an impact and make that change as opposed to just making it a feeling, making it just a moment situation, but actually a lifetime impact. So that's my challenge to you all, not just you, Ed, but since you brought it up, it goes first to you. All righty, let's move along. I think we have one more contestant. Juna, are you there?
Hi, of course I'm here. Bonsoir tout le monde. Non, pas c'est Juna Borgella. On t'y créole pour nous passer moi tout pour parler anglais. My name is Juna Borgella, your Miss TransForMe Ayiti contestant number 4. My platform is education. I am a pre-medical student at Florida Atlantic University. I'm from Saint-Marc, Haiti, born and raised until I came here. Really what I want to do, I just want to make a big impact in our community. I feel like not many Haitian people cater to our community as they, the way they would say they will do. And until they get to that certain area that they say they want to get to, they just really, forget and don't go back on their words as to what they say they will do for our community. And I just want to be the person to have a great impact, especially in the lives of children. My platform is really targeting kids. Because the children are our future. And if we can change the way they think, we can definitely change their lives. And in doing so, change the whole country for the better. The literacy rate in Haiti is 61%. After I did my research and I saw that number, it just moved me because it's crazy, because in the US, the literacy rate is 95%. And in other countries and other places is way above that. So, with Haiti being that 61%, and for women, it's like 53%. And then for men, it's like 64%. Now, and this is the numbers that it had to be from the children, the ages at that age, then that's where it had to come from, because if the kids are not getting the proper education, if they're not able to go to school, then in their adult ages, they're not able to understand certain things that we can understand with the proper education. Just like Edge was saying, it's stimulating, their minds and having them understand like the things in life. Because if they had the proper education, there's certain things they're doing in the country as with all the craziness, it wouldn't be happening. It really wouldn't be happening. And another thing that made me really want to get like connected with the children, with this platform that I the nonprofit organization that I want to have take place, not just talk about it. I actually want to open this nonprofit and make a difference in some lives, is because my grandmothers, the only thing they could really read and write is their names. And that's really like that's so unfortunate, because I realized they couldn't be kids, they couldn't go to school, they couldn't, and most of them is because they can't afford it. So my platform, I really want to create a sort of sponsorship program where it's like a scholarship to be able to cover their school expenses, so the children can go to school. When you look at it, like the currency in Haiti and the currency here, like just like y'all was saying, if you send $5 and they change it into the good, or how the money is exchanged, it's a lot for them. Whereas here it's just $5. And if we have, different amount of people be able to sponsor a child, then, it could cover their school expenses. Because I have a little sister that's in Haiti, and her school expenses is not a lot to us, but in Haiti it's a lot, right? So if we could just, oh my God, I just really want to, set a foundation and do it one kid at a time, so that when they get older, they can understand, like, to be able to read, to be able to be literate, because a lot of people are very illiterate in Haiti, and that's causing a major problem in a lot of the things that they do, because they don't have the right knowledge to be able to function and be a better country, and to understand, like, there's so much more in this world. You don't have to settle for that. And a lot of people think it's okay, it's the norm. Just like people would say, oh, we are broke. No, we are not broke. What your words have life, like what you say, speak into existence, is what's going to continue to happen. So the more you keep saying, oh, we are a poor country, we are this, we are that, we are broke, saying negative things towards the country, then what do you think is going to keep happening, right? They're going to keep saying bad things, and it's going to continue to get bad and much worse. So we have to start saying positive things, and that starts with making the people believe that there's positivity, making the kids be able to read about the history of the country, how we made other countries be able to do a lot of things that they're doing, such as America, right? We have a lot to do with their history. And if the kids are illiterate, if they become adults and they're illiterate, they cannot read that there's a documentary that I watched with all the history about the Haiti. If only the people knew, if they could read about the country's history, they would realize the potential that they have to be the country that it is so powerful. And that's just what I want to have an impact on. And sorry that I got a little far, but it's just, when I talk about this, it just makes me feel a little vibrated, like but thank you so much for this. It's amazing. My experience with this pageant, it's been so great, and I look so forward to everything that we're doing. Even though Rona tried to run us, but we're standing firm, and the show must go on.
Thank you so much. And the first time that I realized illiteracy was an issue was the first time I was going to Haiti, and I was sitting across from an older Haitian guy. And he asked me to fill out the paper for him. And, me being a little fresh Jamaican, I was like to myself, why are you asking me? I ain't, whatever. And then it dawned on me, like, as, he didn't want to show that he couldn't read or write. He was trying to play it off. And then I eventually put two and two together. It took me a while. I think I was in a short bus that day. It took me a while, but I realized that he could not read or write his name. And the challenge is, when you look at civility, if you ever read George Washington's book, Civility, or any classical book, education is the make or break it for any society. A society cannot function without education, and I think that's one of the challenges of our country, Haiti, is that education is not free, so it's only to the privileged. So that's why the money, the power, all that we see are the crippling issues in Haiti continue to cycle within these two groups. It's the rich and the poor. There's no middle class. There's the have and have nots. And even if people think they're the middle class, they're really not. And so it is a challenge of what does the new generation do with that? And so now I want to kind of shift gears. I'm gonna play a little music as we shift gears. That's like my little shift. Every time we shift gears, I play a little music. We're gonna go into the panel discussion. And I'm gonna open the floor. I'm gonna also go to Facebook Live and really have a discussion, because there's a lot of different moving pieces that were discussed. And I think it's, even though our time is short, I did give us until 9:15 because I just knew something may happen. So we have a good 20 minutes to stay within the 9 o'clock. And then if we go over, we go over, to have a really deep conversation. But I'm gonna challenge all the panelists and the people that are listening and watching on Facebook and on Zoom. I am not one to go to meetings. I stopped going to meetings a long time ago when it would just be meeting after meeting after meeting, or be discussion after discussion after discussion, or be conference after conference after conference. I want us to leave here challenged. What are you going to do to make the difference of the discussions that we had? This is not just to say, oh, we did a Facebook Live to preserve our culture. No, we're doing a Facebook Live to say, what is our game plan as the new as the new Haitian community, as the new face of what the Haitian diaspora will look like. Our parents are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, God forbid. And our grandparents, they probably already out. And if they're not, they close to it. And so the challenge is, how are we gonna make the new narrative for the Haitian culture be different? That its narrative is not going to be far different, and just like, people coin us as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Do your research. That is not the case. And it's just like if you tell a child they're stupid, they can't read, that's all they're going to know. And so I think it's a discussion that we need to have. We have to write our narrative. And that's what I put in the description of this event. We're telling our own story, the truth of that story. Because everybody else has been telling our story, but they say it from their perspective and in their ways. But who's telling our story? Who's allowing us to give the narrative? And just like I said, if they don't make an opportunity for you, you bring your table, you bring your chair. If you got to bring your group with you, you bring your group with you as well. And we have, because, and they say in politics, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And unfortunately, and probably Sandy and even Nandy can attest to this, when government officials have meetings, rarely do we attend. And so, especially in South Florida, we don't attend those meetings. Then we wonder why we're always left out. So one of the questions that I want to give out to the panelists, and I'm going to unmute everybody, but if I hear background noise, I will go back to muting. I want to try to unmute everybody so we can really have a good, solid dialogue, a dialogue that's going to have action steps, a dialogue that's actually going to move the needle a little closer to a better hope and a better future. Because the last time I went to Haiti, I saw kids, their uniform was so crisp they could cut somebody. But I asked myself, as they were walking, as far as they're going to walk to school, what future and hope do they have? Why are they going to school knowing that this country is always, it's like a downward spiral. There's never been an upturn. And if it's an upturn, it goes 10 steps forward and 20 steps back. So I'm going to open up the line, and those who are on Facebook Live, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put your questions in the comment box. For those, if you don't want to speak, you can put your questions also in the chat box on Zoom, and let's have a serious dialogue. All of us are grown adults, and I think we need to take the mask off of being sugaring the conversation or prettying up the realities of what our communities are facing, and actually come up with solutions to the problems that we're going to discuss. So I'm going to
I have a question for Captain Haiti.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can
have to mute everyone.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Somebody's making.
Yeah, Fayola, just mute everyone, and whoever needs to be unmuted, you unmute them. Someone has a lot of stuff going in the background.
Just either raise your hand or screen. I will ask.
I have a question.
So if you have a question, put and as the person is speaking, I will go to the All right, and let me go to Edge. Unmute Edge and unmute Nandy. All right, go ahead.
Yes, Edge,
Okay.
you have a question for me?
Hello again, Captain Haiti. Sorry for coming for you, but your idea was extremely stimulating. So I have a question regarding how, I mean, I like how you are initiating to actually start, you know, making the people do masks and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And it's cheap for you and it's extremely beneficial to them because in that way they can make some money and they have a reason to continue to do things. Like my concern, like after I left Haiti and I came to America, my parents never advised me to ever go back. They're like, God allowed you to leave, now just don't look back, kind of thing. But I want to actually do something, you know what I mean? I want to actually go back and help initiate some form of change. So how do you maintain your safety while you are doing that? Do you only stay in America or do you go back and forth?
Okay, that's a great question. First point you said, it costs more. It costs more to get them made in Haiti. Okay, and also there's less, there's more risk as well to make it in Haiti. Okay, if you get them made, whatever you want to make, you want to make them in, let's say China, Indonesian, or in South America. Okay, they can give you greater volume, but we don't necessarily have the capital to order 10,000 units. Okay, so by unit, it's costs more to deal with Haiti, but it represents for us an opportunity to get in the game. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, okay, I haven't been in Haiti for 30 years, and I have no plan to go to Haiti. Okay, and like your mom told you, to not look back, I will rephrase it into something else. I will tell you that you don't need to be in Haiti to be an agent of change. Okay, all you have to do is to find trading partners with Haiti. Okay, people that you say, and the people that have contacted me and that work for me or with me. Okay, I'll say for me in Haiti, they are the one who contacted me. They saw my videos online, they saw my game online. They're like, hey, Captain Haiti, thank you. And then they're like, okay, what can I do to help what you want to do? I'm like, okay, what do you want to see change? I want to see this change. Okay, I'll pay you to do that. So I'm paying them to do what they want to see as a change in the country. So no, I don't go to Haiti. I have no plan to go to Haiti. I'm not crazy, okay? Because once you go, when you're an agent of change, okay, you have enemies, okay, and strong enemies. So a lot of us should be inspired by our ancestors to build courage to make the change that we need to do, okay? So you don't need to go back. Send your money, invest your money, don't give back. Invest in the people that worth it. I have 6 people working for me now. And out of the 6 people working for me, I fired, let's say 15 to 20 people. I don't care, I'll fire you. Even if you tell me that you need it, but if you go astray, if you don't execute what you said you will do, if you don't have the discipline, then you're taking the place of somebody else that wants to make the change. So send your money, invest in people, keep the good one, forget about the bad apple and keep on moving forward. That's what I will say.
I'm really glad I asked you this question because I like the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I like the question.
I would have a different perspective, but I wasn't asked the question, so I keep my 2 cents. All right. Because when and the reason why I say that is because I'll still give my 2 cents. The reason why I say that is because people have different reasons why they don't go back. But I think for someone who may not understand the dynamic, the complexity of your answer, they may take it the wrong way and think, oh, I shouldn't go to Haiti because, right. So that's why Because for me, I would hope that my kids would be able to at least go once. If not, of course, I would hope it would make it a vacation place. You know, that's why I wanted to get into real estate, because I'm like, it's not there. The opportunity is there, but it's not there. I can help build that space. So, you know, I think, you know, for those who are thinking about involving in Haiti in some way, shape, or form, whether that's business, that's investment, or any kind of way of giving back, do your homework as far as what risks there are in giving back, in building that business. I had to ask myself, if I want to build real rental property, if I wanted to do an Airbnb, if I wanted to build a hotel, I got to understand what risks come with that, you know? So I would tell anyone who has any direct or indirect involvement that they want to have with Haiti, do your risk and look at those risks to see, is it necessary and is it a need for me to go to Haiti, or is it not? As opposed to saying, don't go to Haiti for whatever reason. Does that make sense?
I'm glad that you precised it. Yes, okay. I'm very glad you did.
I saw a hand up. Was that Miss Jadine? You wanted to say something?
You can unmute me. Oh, yes. Hi. So I totally agree with Fayola in the essence of, depending what you're going to do in Haiti, some things will require your face to be there. If it means, you know, initially that you do a community assessment to kind of figure things out, and then you get it established and you have a team running, yes. But just like she said, what you're doing there would probably require you to be there. And ultimately, you know, the mindset Nandy has is the capitalist mindset. You know, we know that, what's his name? Warren Buffett got a whole team doing everything, and, you know, no one knows it's Warren Buffett, right? But ultimately, knowing that this is where we come from, I think the issue is fear. Nandy doesn't know, but like I said, I was born here. And when I was told by the Holy Spirit, you're gonna go to Haiti, the very first thing I said is like, absolutely not. Based off what my parents said, based off the old heads and what they said. And when I finally got the courage to go, Nandy, and this is for everyone in this broadcast and the people who are not, it was one of the best feelings I ever had, because I allowed the white man to give me the narrative that Haiti was unsafe. But Nandy, you're forgetting. Haiti, you're not going to a marché and someone blowing you up because you're going to the mall. It's all in your mind, and it's relative, because in the end, it's unsafe to be in the United States of America than it is in a developing country. Because a country that has access and they have guns and stuff, you know, you're hearing the horrendous stuff that happens in these, you know, developed countries, and of course the undeveloped. So to add to what Fayola is saying, it's a mindset. And, you know, for me, understanding that I am going to leave this earth someday or somehow, only the Creator knows this. And so if he asks me to do something, it is not me to question him how it needs to get done. It's what do you need me to do and how I need to do it, and knowing that he is going to cover me, because Nandy doesn't know, but our organization is a faith-based organization. It's God first before anything else. And so we know the help that Haiti needs, and oftentimes we're waiting for other people to do it. It's not going to get done the way you can do it, because you come from the country, you know what's going on. So someone like me who don't know anything about Haiti, I can't just say I'm going to start a business there, because they're going to rip me off. Nandy probably has people already working. He has eyes for him. You got people working for you. But for the average person, you don't know the country. You're just going to say, I'm going to do this. These people are going to take advantage of you. So I think it's a balance. And of course, just like she said, what are you doing there? And what does it require to be there or not? But to ultimately say, I'm not going to go, that it's all relative. Because it's a fear. It's operating in fear.
Now, Jadine, by your intervention, I understand even more what Fayola meant by the complexity of my answers. Let me try to be more direct. Okay, when Haiti is not where it is because Haitians doesn't have the intention to be better. Haiti isn't in the hole that we're in because our parents and our ancestors didn't plan, strategize, and try to bring it to another level. Haiti, it is where it is because it's very profitable for the most elite people in this world to have Haiti where it is right now. So in my
Agree.
and the type of activities that I do, okay? What I do is market development. I sell. If I don't have a product to sell, I'm no use to you. I'm not a logistic guy. You give me a product, I'm going to find the maximum value. And to find the maximum value, I'm more an asset for Haiti here than I will be in Haiti itself. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, once you know too much, it goes against your safety of your interests. For example, when you have friends, Canada and United States, okay, that destabilize your government to put their puppet in place and wants to deconstruct your constitution in order to allow their corporation to go and exploit the $20 billion worth of gold, the 120 billion worth of oil, the iridium that you have. We have the most concentration of iridium from anywhere around the world. Okay, when you talk about these type of subject, the game Captain Haiti that I put out, if you go on Play Store, okay, you download Captain Haiti, you're going to learn all about all the natural resources that you have in the country by playing the game. So this is symbolism, okay? Not everything, when you play with symbolism, like other people play with symbolism, you know what's out there. So Haiti, if you want to, if you're trying to build industries, you don't need to be there. You need a partner. You see what I mean? If you try to start a business, and most businesses that are started in Haiti, okay, are crippling the country because most people don't understand the eco-economic system that is keeping Haiti where it's at right now. So, moun ap achete bagay pour Haiti pour faire comme. No, prends bagay Haiti pour ici. And I don't want to be too long, but if I can precise one thing, if you want to get involved in Haiti, etc., get a product, invest in a product that is not perishable, okay, and that you can get a small quantity and bring here. If you lose the money on that product, for example, okay, I had a Starbucks that wanted to buy 4 containers of coffee from me in Canada. Okay, I take the sample of Haitian coffee, I roasted it, I send it to Starbucks, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing! Got us 4 containers." And when I turn around, no, you can't have 4 containers of this. You have to import the coffee, roast it, package it, distribute it yourself, and still by doing that, you're creating more value than going to work for Starbucks. Okay, but to conclude on this, get products that are non-perishable. Let's say you invest 500 to get rice from Haiti here, right? You learn from that experience. You send another 500, okay? You get the rice this time, but 50% is not good, right? So, but with the 50%, you get your first 500 and you recoup your expenses of the second 500 with a half of it only. See what I mean? That means the learning experience have more value than the money that somebody stole from you. And still, the value of the product that you bring here, the profit margin is so large that the risk worth the value or the profit that you're making out of it. So I'm not trying to monopolize the conversation. I just thought that your intervention asked me to be more precise. So Haiti is more valuable than we think it is. And whatever we have people that wants to be, every Haitian living in the world should worth $22 million. Every Haitian. So when you have a different Haitians that are trying to make things happen, so we can get, let's say, 10% of that value, it's $2.2 million per Haitians in the world. What are we going to do with that money? We're going to go and invest it in other Black nations. Nobody wants to see us do that. So there's a lot of things that I'm not saying, but that's part of the answer. I hope I satisfied your.
And that's why I said your answer, there was complexity behind it, because understanding why you answered the way you did, but I just wanted to make sure that individuals who don't understand where you're coming from don't take it the wrong way and think that Haiti is a closed country and not a place that you should visit. And the reason why I say that is because I've watched videos and I've watched documentaries of business owners whose lives have been at risk. If you, Haiti has a lot of monopoly in certain industries, telecommunications, money wiring. Certain industries in Haiti are monopolized by a very small group, just like in the United States. We have the 1%ers that, own a lot of different things. And once you start dabbling in their money, you start dabbling to make change, you become a target. So that's why I understood where you were coming from. And so everybody has their point, but it's to understand it. And sometimes people have family history of why they can't go. I know people from Duvalier era that still grandchildren, or even their family bloodline don't even think about Haiti because of the trauma, because of those experiences, because of the risk. I mean, there was a time that my family could not cross Broward and Miami, from Broward to Dade County because we were on a blacklist in the 1980s. So even when I moved back as an adult, when I first moved back, I didn't cross Broward County, Dade County borderline, not because of the fear of me being on a hit list, but it's just sometimes your psyche, based on your family's history and based on the experiences or stories you've heard, it can impact your perspective on certain things and your viewpoints. So, everybody comes from a different perspective. So we just need to be open-minded to that. As we only got 13 minutes, and like I said, I put 9:15 for this webinar because I didn't want us to go too much over time, because I want to respect everybody's time. But if there's any questions, I'm looking at Facebook. If there's any questions on Facebook, and I don't see. If there's anyone on Zoom who has a question, you can either put your hand up or type in the chat box that you have a question. But my question to you all is this. I was on Facebook a couple of months ago and I saw this picture and it said Haiti 2050. And that picture of Haiti 2050 looked like New York Times Square. You know what picture I'm talking about? That's why you're laughing? Yes. And I was like, wow, is that a reality one day? What does the future of Haiti really look like? What things have to change? We already talked about education. We already talked about mindset. We already talked about business. But let's get down to some deeper conversation. What else has to change for us to have this picture of Haiti that someone depicted this visual, because the picture's worth 1,000 words, through this visual, or even the reality of bringing this visual to reality? What other changes do we need to make? Is it a cultural change, a collective change? Is it an individual change? And if it's a collective change, who are some of those game changers? We already know it's politicians, so we move them aside. We already know it's the families that make money and that run Haiti's different industries and are the old money, the bourgeoisie, the whatever you want to call them. Let's move those obvious game changers to the side. And let's really have a conversation. Who are those other game changers? And what do we need to do? And anyone can answer.
Well, I don't want to monopolize the conversation. That's all right.
Let's get some of the other attendees. It's not just a conversation just for the speakers, but let's get some of the attendees. Everyone's unmuted. So, yeah, everyone should.
So to put my 2 cents into here, so I'm going to take it to my perspective, the young people perspective here, right? Like college students. So something that I've been witnessing on campus, I am a part of the Haitian student organization on campus, right, at FIU. So there's a lot of people who are from Haitian descent on campus, right? But when we have meetings and stuff like that, you never really see them show up. However, they always show up when the fraternities are doing stuff, the sororities are doing stuff, when they're having events. They always show up for those. But when you talk to them and you try to spread that conversation about just being Haitian and knowing what being Haitian is and what you see for Haiti, it's just like they never really get interested in that, because they said for us, we don't, like, let's say the Haitian Student Organization, we don't offer them stuff like the sororities do, like how the connections that you gain and how everybody is in part of the Greek and stuff like that. So it's just like, so when we do meetings and stuff like that, we talk about the culture. We're talking about the state of Haiti. We was even talking about the Petro-Caribe situation, trying to educate people on those stuff, but they didn't really care. They didn't see themselves in there. So me, who's about to become president of our Haitian Student Union, because now we're merging two different orgs. We had HSO and HSA. Now we're merging them. We're becoming Haitian Student Union. So as the new president for that, what I'm trying to do is trying to, how would you say this? Invite them to the table, right? And get them and spark their interest into seeing a better Haiti, a better seeing that visual that you were talking about, the Haiti 2050, sparking their interest in other things that would make them invest in that. Like, I'm thankful for TransForMe Ayiti, because TransForMe Ayiti has me thinking about what can I do for our people and what can I do for our nation, which I never really thought about it before because I don't really have an entrepreneurial type mentality, but based off of my own experiences, I'm like, hey, I can change Haiti through this certain thing, through that certain thing. So for the young people out there, what I want to do is just have a conversation with them and not make it seem, but like actually do something for them so they can see that they can gain something from us. They don't have to go to other orgs like BSU and what AKAs and alphas and stuff like that. They can actually get something from us. We can feed your mind as well. We can get you those opportunities, just like TransForMe IT made me able to network and meet new people like you guys, like Martin, Nandy, and Sandy. Like, I don't know, putting me part of the conversation. So that's when you were saying about how are we trying to preserve the culture. This is how I think I can probably preserve our culture, and just by sparking people's interest and maybe pushing them to see a better Haiti and see a better community, especially since down here, North Miami is the largest Haitian American community in America. So we're right in the middle of it, and we can cause the change. The change is not even just because we have so many Haitian officials in office. Just because they know our struggle doesn't mean that the change is necessarily going to come from them. Change is going to start coming from us as the individuals, because we are the people, we are the community. So until we start changing ourselves individually and start putting our heads together, sharing the wealth and the knowledge, because everybody knows how to do something. So if I can share my knowledge on something else, maybe that can spark you and maybe have you to do something else. That's how we're going to get the Haiti 2050.
Yeah,
we have a young Sandy.
I mean, we got nothing else to say, right? I mean, okay, get us together.
After that. But I want another young person to speak before I'm trying to watch the time because I strategically put 9:15. I wish I put 9:30 now, but like I said, I wanted to be mindful of people's times because that's another challenge in our community. We have to respect people's time, and if we are professionals, we want people to take us seriously. We have to. The blondes don't play. Loyalty never. They said 9. That's it. Maybe that's it. For us, we could do 10 o'clock. So I want a young person. I want a young person quickly. You got like 2 minutes. I need another young person to come on and rebuttal that. I mean, what else do you have to say? Because I mean, y'all about to make me scream at these people hotel. So give me something else. Like, I need my young people to come on, because even though us older heads, we still young. I'm still young. I don't care what y'all say.
Too. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I want the next generation after us. Come on, somebody drop some gems right now. So we have to sign off.
Okay, well, with what Sarah was saying, I can agree, because as you guys were speaking, I was thinking about everything and reflecting on what you guys were talking about. And to be honest, I personally probably wouldn't be moved by anything or doing anything dealing with Haiti if I had never went and witnessed everything for myself. So when I went to Haiti, I told myself, this is unacceptable. I can't believe, I heard this and that. I didn't really believe it, but when I seen it with my own 2 eyes, I'm like, yeah, people are underprivileged. They're like, when I left the airport and photo points, and I seen people on the side of the road asking for money. People still had their injuries from the earthquake. It was just really sad. So I told myself, I put it in the back of my mind that I have to do something. I'm privileged. There's people like me that are privileged that can make a change in Haiti. And it wasn't until I into this pageant, I was like, okay, spark, here it goes. Because Jadine and everybody on the board allowed us to have an open mind, and with each workshop show us how we can do it and what we can do to make a change. So I think like programs like that, and what Sarah was saying, creating more groups that are introducing us as a generation to the Haitian culture, knowing our issues, our problems, getting more into politics and, just everyday things. It will allow people of our age to want to do something in Haiti, and it's hard. A few months ago, I was just watching a video with my mom. It was on YouTube, and it was just talking about the jail system and the judicial system in Haiti, and it's just so corrupt. And I just sat there, I wanted to cry, because there's some people that are innocent in Haiti, and they get trial for a crime that they didn't even do, and they'll sit in Haiti in the jail and rot for months. If you don't have money, you're gonna be stuck there. There's diseases going on, people don't eat. It's just terrible. And I would have never known that if I never sat there with my mom and been interested to watch what was going on behind closed doors. You know what I mean? So I think I agree with Sarah. I think that we would have to start making more organizations and groups that will welcome the younger generation and let us know, like, here we have an opportunity, let me extend the olive branch. And since you have a mind, since you have social media, since you have all these resources, take your time and try to make something happen. So I think that's what we will have to do, just create more groups. And like, I'm now going on social media, finding more social media network, like Fayola mentioned, the Union Suite and all these pages, and all of us as the Haitian community are connecting. I'm going in the comments, joining groups, and it's a wonderful feeling. So I think once we have more of that, once we introduce the younger generation to things like that, that's when the changes will happen. And that's when Haiti will become what it is in 2050.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I was getting a little nervous because time is creeping up on us. I have 2 minutes. But
Fayola, this is Fayola.
Yes.
This is Gloria. I just wanted to say my sister's currently working in Haiti and deals with an organization that puts up bail for young people who are in prison. So there are systems out there for anyone who's interested. There's organizations out there that exist that are in work. So sometimes it's not reinventing the wheel, it's finding the organization you can provide support to. So I just wanted to say that. Captain America, my name is Gloria. I'm gonna get your contact information so I can reach out to you specifically. So just wanted to put a face to the name. Okay, sorry, Fayola, go.
You got 1 minute. So I just want to thank y'all so much, because I don't want it to, but I would challenge, would we do a part 2? Are y'all interested?
Of course.
All right, so before this week is over, give me like 2 weeks, because I have a paper due this weekend. So the following weekend, I'll send the information to the speakers. To the others that are watching us, you're going to get a follow-up email for part 2. I thank you so much. I don't want this to shut without saying thank you to our speakers. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Jadine. Thank you to the contestants of Miss TransForMe Ayiti. Thank you to Ruth, our current reigning queen for Miss TransForMe Ayiti. I am so excited. I thank God. I thank my ancestors. I thank my uncle. This is a homage. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for the late Father Dr. Jiraj Anjis. I can't even say that, I'm so tired. But the late Father Dr. Jiraj Anjis that instilled in me that my voice does make a difference. That one person opening their mouth and speaking against injustice, speaking against the realities of ills of our society can make a difference. So I bless you all. We will do a part 2. Stay tuned. Thank y'all for joining. I hope you enjoyed. The conversation has to be offline and online. So continue the dialogue, network with people. I'll try to see if I can get the social media tags for the speakers so you can connect with them offline. I thank y'all so much. It is going to shut down.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, good night.
I am Dr. Fayola Delica, your Miss Haiti Excellence 2020. This was Preserving the Culture Part 1. Part 2 in 2 weeks. Definitely stay tuned. May y'all take care. Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Wow.